Yeah, no, 100%. Scout information is super crucial, especially in these tournament games where, one decision or one strategy can really decide the game here. So, game one, Viper in blue playing as the Roos. His opponent is going to be Vortix playing in the red as the English. And we're seeing the immediate hunting cabin opening with 2 vills. Pretty standard stuff here.
Followed up by the house and then the lumber camp. Now the question is, are you building the scout out of the TC to go for 3 scouts? And that's indeed the Viper approach here. And I always like to go for some guessing games. What's the Roos bounty at minute 3 going to be for the Viper?
Oof. Minute 3, I'm not too familiar with how fast it comes in. But I would say, let's say, well, since he's going scout right away, I would say 250 because he's already run into 2 year patches. I'd say at least 250.
Okay.
Yeah, 250 for me.
Yeah, feels very reasonable.
What about you?
I would go for 249.
Okay, a very, very solid guess. I think I'd probably end up being closer. I think he'll get more than 250 this game, but we'll see. It's by 3 minutes, so it's going to be a challenge for sure.
Okay.
I think I want to ask you actually, the scout right away from the TC. What do you think about that overall?
I'm greedy. I'm a guy who likes to build the scout from the hunting cabin. I think I've played like 3 villagers hunting cabin and then built the scout there.
Yeah. I'm so conflicted on how it is. I'm also greedy and I just do the hunting cabin one. But then again, we're both just casters now, so I'm not sure if our approach is both wrong.
Well, you cashed in this tournament, right? Memp is a bit worried for you, I read on his Twitter. But I think you're still considered a player in some form.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm just like, I'm just like, obviously, I'm obviously casting right now, so yeah, that's why I'm referring to that. But it's okay, we can just move on, no problem. You played in this tournament too, Nilly. Why are you putting the heat on me?
I didn't. You started the like caster versus player discussion.
It wasn't a caster versus player. I'm just saying that like maybe our approach is wrong since that the people that are still in the tournament are going for the scout right from the TC.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will allow it.
Okay, perfect. As long as we're on the same page now, it's honestly perfect.
Okay, Vortix obviously going to open Longbowman and aggressive woodline here for the Viper. Could be a bit problematic. And now the big question where we need to discuss again, Wooden Fortress, how early against English?
Oh, I've heard two Wooden Fortress is the way to go versus English. And as far as how early, I feel like as soon as you can afford them, you need 2. That's what I've heard. I've actually never played this matchup as the Roos, but I've heard that you go 2 Wooden Fortress to defend the longbows if they're coming in, pretty much. And by the way, 3 minutes and Viper's at 265, so I win that one.
Okay.
Yep.
In your first one ever, right? That really shows your game sense.
I mean, yeah, it's good to be in this position. It's a new feeling for me for sure, but I hope to keep this one going. Just a win in a game. Not too bad. But yeah, like, what do you think of, generally speaking, like 2 Wooden Fortress to defend? Is that something that like makes sense to you, or you have like a different idea in mind?
It just feels like such a big investment, right?
Yeah.
I think like 1 in the center of your wood line, you need to juggle a bit, need to go right-hand side, left-hand side. But like 350 wood, it's very rare that you can actually afford it. By the way, Viper actually went wheelbarrow first here. He won't go for professional scouts.
Okay, so if you go wheelbarrow, you actually can't afford the professional scouts, which is so interesting. Wow.
And he's not getting those scouts.
This is what I'm talking about with Viper. Like he would just do like weird things like this. Like he's not gonna go meta, which most people would assume that professional scouts, everyone's gonna go for that. And so Vortix might try to pressure as such, but in this case, Viper goes to wheelbarrow. Does he make a stable as well? Maybe he goes for 1 stable to push back the knights, push back the longbow. Excuse me. Could be a play here.
Feels like it. Since we're not adding scouts, it feels very like. Oh, he actually has 4 scouts, or is he just so greedy? Maybe selling 100 wood and he can afford it, right? He's only
I don't like that.
60 short.
But you don't need a wheelbarrow if you get professional scouts, right? Oh, he still goes for it. Oh, that's interesting. It's greedy, but I don't mind if it's English. Maybe he's thinking that the wheelbarrow can help move around like against like the longbows. Like you're talking about like shifting right to left. Maybe wheelbarrow helps with that on the wood line.
Ooh. Yeah.
And he is going for a stable though. Wow, he feels like he's doing everything here. I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna afford this, but it feels like it's just like pretty insane.
Yeah, spreading himself thin there for sure. Vortix going for the longbows, has 3 of them. No barracks by him.
Yeah,
What's
he scouted
his
the stable.
scouting? Oh, yeah, okay. Sees that.
Yep.
Nice positioning of his scouts.
Yeah. And sorry, where's the barracks from Vortix? I'm not seeing
No
it
barracks,
right now.
yeah. Although
no
he
barracks.
saw
Oh,
the
sorry.
stable, so that's surprising. Now sends a villager forward, so wants to get those aggressive towers up.
So maybe he goes forward, makes the tower, then makes the barracks. I can see that being pretty solid, but now we're seeing the wooden fortress come down for the Viper, sticking with just the one for now. We'll see if he makes the second, but as you said, it is a big investment. They cost 175 a piece, I believe.
Yeah, increases the wood income, so the first one makes lots of sense because you will basically get in return on your investment, but the second one, basically only a stronger tower, but a really costly one.
Yeah, exactly. A very good point there, as the first one pays back, second one doesn't. Tower from Vortix coming down on that kind of stealth forest here, which I think is a very cool mechanic as well, just to get that tower there so you control it and your opponent will still be in the dark. Longbows coming in. Let's see how Viper's reactions are.
Ooh, and get some snipes there. The scout is actually giving all the vision. The left scout.
Yeah, that's so big. So, like,
Wow.
and let me explain that for people who don't know. Longbows will not be able to see over the forest. What happened there is that the scout from the left-hand side from Vortix gave that vision so the longbows can shoot over the wall. That's so smart. Over the tree wall, I should say.
Oh.
That's so smart. Wow.
And that's why maybe the wooden fortress more in the center of the woodline could be an option, but obviously then raids at the left-hand side, right-hand side could have been good. And another villager dying.
Wow, I'm genuinely impressed by what Vortix is doing there. That scout needs to get addressed, and I'm not even sure if Viper knows about it. No, in fact, he does know about it because it's within range of the tower, but maybe he just didn't think that it's that big of an impact there, but that scout was huge.
And now we have to ask a question. If you know you're against English,
Yep.
maybe you can take 10 seconds at the start, 5 seconds at the start, and actually scout for another woodline more defensively. Because you know all this pressure is coming from the opponent's direction. And the defensive woodline just makes your life so much easier if you're Roos.
Yeah, like there, if Viper started on this woodline now he has at the back as he's getting the wooden fortress, he wouldn't lose 2 villas at the top of the front of the start of Feudal Age. He would have to, or Vortix would have to actually work for that, go around and such. Now the scout for Vortix is in question, runs away with that guy, he'll be totally fine. And now the barracks comes down, so some spears will get mixed in to counter the knights. Whose position do you like more in this case?
Simply Vortix for all his control. Raiding isn't that easy with like 1 knight, so I really like the spot. Has the tower, goes for some spearmen. Wouldn't be surprised if we now see a follow-up. Indeed, it's coming in. Siege engineers.
Okay, so he really wants to get the ram push going. Viper on the map with 2 knights. As you said, it's not easy to raid with just 2 knights here, and Vortix will have some defensive units. 1 longbow kind of just chilling. We'll obviously spot the knights coming in a mile away and just run away. So very cool play from him. And Viper just looking to get some counter damage to buy himself some time maybe as well. What's the Viper's reaction here? Does he make a range, switch to archers maybe? I think you kind of have to at this point after seeing the barracks.
I think his typical reaction to ram push is double archer range. I'm a big fan of like trying to squeeze in castle age, but look at his gold count. It can't be very pretty. It sits at 250 without a lot of income. I don't think he can get enough Manglords out in time.
Yeah, and he needs 2 tickets from the Golden Gate. He just got 1, so it's going to be another minute till he gets that second one, which he will need, plus a little bit of extra gold after from the hunting cabins. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think he needs to go for like double archers to defend this one. But it really just comes down to what he knows, because he doesn't know that the rampush is coming, and how early he finds out, I suppose.
He knows nothing. Doesn't know about the barracks, about the tower. He just goes for the counterattack. He didn't see army for quite some time. Now he could potentially see that one with the scout at the front. Yeah, now he knows what's up.
Yeah, so we'll see that. Meanwhile, getting some raids on the top. I think he picked off a Vill there. That's not bad. 1 Vill for the Viper. It definitely adds up. And he's also picking up some longbows coming forward. So Viper, his counterattacks are paying off, taking some deer back as well. And now he knows what's up. Does lose the scout for it. 2 ranges right away. Nilly, you called it. Wow, nice.
Well, that's his approach, right? The question is, will it be in time, though? We'll float lots and lots of food. You now should consider going for the selling, or even 3 archer ranges. He knows how late he scouted it, and that he really needs to catch up.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like, I was just going to mention that. He scouted it late, so he's going to overcompensate now with 3 ranges. It's such a smart idea. Wooden Fortress will be the first to go down here from Vortix's targets. I think that's a pretty good approach. I don't know. I still think I like Vortix's position, despite Viper having so much food here and bringing in more and more hunt as well constantly.
Oh, even building a market here. Doesn't like how little he can trade with the Golden Gate. Is always pushing that to the limit. And now maybe selling some more food there. Obviously, if he gets Castle Age, if he gets a Mangalore out, this push will easily be stopped. But Vortix will come in with quite some aggression already.
Yeah, I really like the market. I think people might sometimes be too stubborn and just stick with the Golden Gate, but the market just helps so much. It lets you use the Golden Gate when you need it and not kind of rely on it. Vortix sticking with one ram now. It looks like... Okay, second round comes down. I was going to say, does he make like a small pressure then go up, or does he want to really commit to feudal? Looks like he will commit to feudal age here, at least for the second ram.
Oh, Viper heavily housed. And he is not having the best wood income right now. 50 out of 50 only after finishing a house. And that could be another house going down.
And he's making another one as one on the front will go down as well. I wonder if Vortix is targeting the houses on purpose, but as you said, Viper needs to buy some wood here. He does buy a couple hundred wood to make more houses. He recognizes the threat here. Stable now under fire from the Rams, and the Longbows are in the back. Stable's not too important right now. He doesn't really need too many knights. I think archers is the thing that's the most important just to survive here. But it looks like he's in a pretty bad position here.
Let's see, right? Stable, not the most important thing for now. He knows just getting archer numbers out is good enough. Don't tell me Viper's trying to counterattack. Or is he just trying to cut off reinforcements?
That's crazy. I don't know how you can ignore 2 Rams in your base like that with the Lombos. I mean, maybe he's right though. Maybe like he can never fight, right? So maybe he has to try something. Like I can see that kind of logic, you know?
Rams being pushed back. Villagers did some damage to them. TC out of range. And Viper, nah, he was just trying to cut off reinforcements.
Yeah,
got some kills there.
He's also making Vortix think, right? Like now Vortix has to watch out. Because like now he's got army behind him. Couple reinforcements dying as well. Yeah, that was a smart move from the Viper. He's going to be able to cut off reinforcements. And then when he wants to take the fight, he's going to have army on both sides. Another wooden fortress coming down in the wood line. As the first one will die now.
Oh, but Archer's out of position. That could be some dead villagers here. Indeed, Viper not really pulling them early enough. Now the market is getting attacked. The Viper losing more and more buildings. Bit of an oversight, I believe. Is Vortix not killing that hunting cabin at the front?
That's getting him 24 gold per minute. Also the option of making some scouts. The ram has been cleared up. And now Vortix can easily just go back and deal with the threat that Viper has going to his base now. I don't think Vortix should try to push anymore. I think he needs to wait to castle at this stage. That's my general feeling here.
Oh, Viper, nice military numbers here. Sits at 26, 27 for Vortix. Knights obviously can help out. Spearmen trying to brace against this. I don't think Viper has enough to really chase this one down. Longbows should outmicro this.
Yeah, Longbows are just so insane in archer versus archer fights. And I feel like the few spear would just keep the knights away from the Longbows. There's more reinforcements coming as well now as Vortix has been forced to gather them up before standing them one by one. And Vortix should win this fight, but Viper didn't get the worst trade in the world. Definitely a win for Vortix, though.
Yep, those 2 knights chasing down quite a bit. Found another, like, 3-4 longbow kills. But Viper, he goes for the line formation, which is nice if you have a sword fight. But this is a big misclick.
Oh,
What's he doing with his archers?
Oh, I think he just misclicked. It's the only explanation. He loses 5 archers for free. That's huge.
Oh, and that
but
might...
Viper's up the castle. Wow.
Okay, builds it with 12 villagers, but wood income is still so low. Or like he has 16 on wood right now. Every single food villager is building that Abbey of Trinity right now. 18 for the Castle Age landmark.
Yeah, and he's gonna get that quick, but what do you do in Castle Age? Like, I guess the only thing is Siege, right? Because like you have nothing else, right? You have nothing else that you can go for in Castle that makes sense besides Siege.
Mm-hmm. I think like one Mangonel alone is really, really good at this. But that's a solid 700 wood that Viper doesn't even have. Goes for barracks. Men-at-Arms is his play.
Ooh, I don't know if I like that. Men-at-Arms get kited so hard by Longbows. And like, Men-at-Arms are only good when you mass them up and you need both armor upgrades. That's not correct. That's not correct. I don't think that's gonna work.
Oh. Tricky stuff.
Let's see. He's committing to it. 2 barracks now. I wonder what upgrades he has. He doesn't even have the first Pierce armor. So like, these Longbows will be able to kite the Men-at-Arms super easily. 2 more Rams coming in from now for Vortix as well as he takes out that market. I like that he goes for the market because it actually denies a useful building from the Viper.
Mm-hmm. They're just now trying to jump into the tower. Longbow still around. Uh-oh. First Warrior Monk out. Is greedy and goes for the relics.
I think he has to, right? He needs some sort of like... Yeah, he needs some sort of advantage, but... I don't know, man. It's looking very dicey. It's looking very dicey right now.
One more longbows around. Is diving in deeper. Lots of villagers. Viper is exposed. Where's his army? Why is he not reacting?
His army went to the top for some reason, and he has a few men-at-arms mixed in, but... Is he gonna go for another reinforcement pickoff now? Is he just giving up the whole bottom? Like...
This feels so
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah. But then again... Oh, maybe he goes for a mass conversion. Maybe he does it. Maybe he goes to the conversion.
No, you can't do that against ranged units, and Vortix is way too good for that. I think he's just
Yeah.
giving up the archer ranges because he knows, okay, now I'm going for men-at-arms. The question is, what men-at-arm count is the right one to try to engage against this army?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I do feel like you need pierce armors. I think if without pierce armor, they just get kited way too hard. So I think you'd probably need like 10, 15 to be able to push this one.
Ooh, that much. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're really, really bad in low numbers when they don't have pierce armor. Because they take 3 damage a shot, so it's quite a lot.
Okay. The Viper, by the way, sneaky 3 villagers at the bottom. Getting
Taking
some
some
gold
gold.
there.
He did clear up the Rams, but he's got so much idle villas under his DC. As the professional scout hunt is running out, by the way.
Another
Vortix
wooden
going back on the
fortress.
left-hand side.
Yeah, another ram there. Could find another villager pickoffs at the front if Vortix knew about that one. Doesn't have no vision of that area right now. And just simply goes to the berries, which are exposed.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, this isn't even a mistake from the Viper to be here, right? Because like he needs food income and he needs to take some risks. He cannot actually fight the army head on, so it's just all about taking resources where he can, and when he can't, just run away. Another ram coming down for Vortix. Viper's going for a counterattack. I mean, it's probably the best thing he can do, and he can find massive damage if he goes to the wood line.
Well, let's see. Villages obviously can fight back, but not really against Castle Age army anymore. But Viper isn't committing. Oh, I think he could have found so many villager kills.
Oh, wow. Was that the classic thing where like Viper just didn't know what we see? Maybe he thought there was way more there, but there was literally nothing there for Vortix to defend. Wow.
Now some archers are dying, makes it tougher for those men-at-arms to find the kills. Only 5 more archers, and indeed, what you mentioned, kiting against the men-at-arms is happening right now.
Yeah, men-at-arms, like, and this is like for the people in chat as well. If you're in this situation against English, men-at-arms really aren't good in low numbers with low upgrades. You really need to mass those guys up or get some good pierce armor upgrades on them, because in low numbers, this is exactly what happens, and those things are expensive.
Full Castle Age unit there, and, well, technically they are the counter unit, but, well, eventually, like, even if rock beats scissors, if you have 20 scissors, they will beat 3 rocks.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're seeing the 2 rams back for Vortix. I love that he keeps going in with rams, and if they die, he doesn't care, because he just backs up the army and then makes them again. They're only 300 wood apiece, so as long as you don't lose your army with them, it's okay to keep making the rams, and they get good value.
Indeed, another archer range going down, another house going down. Viper, he is not housed yet. We have something for Vortix, 80 out of 80, now 80 out of 90. Oh, and now he spots the gold at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, guaranteed 3 picks.
I will quickly mention that Viper's taking the boar over to the east of the map, and he's also on the berries here near the goal. So he's really trying to expand to take some of these natural resources, but getting punished. As soon as you get spotted, you lose your villagers for sure. Magnol's out though, Nilly. We talked about this.
Okay, first good hit here. Men-at-arms meanwhile clearing up the rams. Mangonel maybe a bit too aggressive against those spearmen now. Needs to run.
Oof. I think he makes it back. The repairs in this game are crazy. Goes for a shot though. That's risky.
Oh, gets some connection, and yeah, he has the villagers. I heard repairs are crazy.
The repairs are crazy in this game. Yeah, there it is. The spearman forced to run away. Takes a shot on the way back as well. Viper's going to get the defense here. The question is whether Vortix can actually manage to stabilize after this and not get overrun by men-at-arms. That's the big question here. Viper did get 1 pierce armor. Men-at-arms slightly more tanky. Mangonel doing the DPS from the back. Pretty good.
But I think Vortix should be able to out-micro this. I think Viper either needs rams himself, or it will get tricky, right? Vortix, how far is he from Castle Age? Oh, actually pretty far. I thought maybe if we get like 5 crossbows in, Viper would be in trouble, but that won't happen for quite some time.
Looks like he's sticking with the longbows. Viper, by the way, does have 3 relics. I actually just checked. Wow, it feels like Viper's in somewhat of a decent position here, and I would not have expected it. Vilcount right now, 42 for Vortix, and the Viper is at 41. Wow, even Vilcount, guys.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Viper,
Yeah.
without really getting too many villager kills, right? So it had to be some idle TC by Vortix. Maybe slipping a bit of macro.
Yeah, it's very possible. I also did consider, like, take a look at the top side for Vortix. He's on
Ooh,
the
big
hunt.
Magno shot. Sorry for interrupting there, but oi, 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 oi. Those have to retreat now.
Yeah, definitely worth the interruption, man. And that's 3-4 Longbows down, and now the rest are very much hurt, so he's got to be very careful. Do you get the healing upgrade? Looks like he already has this, so he can heal the Longbows, but only if he's out of combat here. I think Vortix needs to back up, honestly. He needs to give ground, I think.
Viper really low with his resources. Vortix floating a bit of gold, but only 6 villagers on food. Castle Age is so far away. Holy moly.
Wow. I feel like that's just a mistake from Vortix. Like, he didn't really receive any damage. Why not use English farms? Like, he's only now making farms. He should have been farming a lot sooner. That's really, really confusing to me, to be honest.
Also, the placement not really what I would like too much.
Yep.
Just too far at the front. Would have built it like right side of the blacksmith. Be a bit safer there.
100%. I think maybe not anticipating that the push is going to come back that strong. And I think this just showcased how strong one Mangonel is. We did talk, of course, about how good the Mangonel can be. Warrior Monk might die here, but did pick up the Sacred Site, so I guess he pays back for himself there.
And all the longbows have to run still. Oh, one is chilling this one out. Might actually block it.
I think that's smart, but yeah, Viper should be able to defend with the 1 Man-at-Arm. Oh, by the way, Man-at-Arm is now 6 pierce armor. Like, now the longbows cannot kite them anymore because they do only 1 damage. So,
Oh boy.
yeah, like, somehow Viper got this position. Oh, but the Vills go forward.
Oh, Mangonel shot could still be flying in against them. Is he committing against this? Mangonel shot? No, can't get it against the villagers. Goes for the longbows instead.
Gets a decent shot on the longbows, but the Mangonel will go down. I mean, that's still fine for Viper. It takes 4 Vills for that, 3 Vills. That's still okay, and the Men-at-Arms are basically not getting any damage now from the longbows. Now they're very strong.
Okay, goes for the fight again. Tries to charge in here. But still, numbers are solid. So eventually he will like 5 hit them or something.
Yeah, 30 bows right now. So it's not bad, but obviously, yeah, that's like 6 volleys. Yeah, it's crazy. I want to talk about a little bit as well that despite all the pressure from Vortix, Viper picked up 3 relics, and he also brought back food with the professional scouts. Like, not a lot of people can do that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really nice macro. Also indirect pressure with 1 sacred side, expanding to the left-hand side to the extra gold, expanding to the right-hand side, getting the board there. And now we're going to Castle Age for Vortix, but feels a little too late.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, because in Castle Age, oh wait, hold on, we're seeing Horse Archers now coming out from the Viper, so he's actually transitioning into Horse Archers after getting the Men-at-Arm transition, so now he can actually mix both units, and there's a Magna forward. Wait, Vortix might never hit Castle this game.
Oh no, oh no.
Yep.
Oh, 12 villagers on there, Mangonel shooting, volley 1. Oh!
Hey, oh, he goes for it, but there's Horse Archers now. You cannot do that anymore.
Tries to split, but big massive shot.
You can't do that. That's game. Yeah.
Oh.
Holy moly.
God.
That was 20 Vills and the landmark denied here. That was massive from the Viper. Clears up some Horse Archers now as Vortix, but I mean, obviously it's not enough from what he lost. And what a fantastic game here.
The Mangonel is not done.
Yeah, it's going back for more.
And Longbow's trying to revenge some villagers, but I'm not even sure if that's going to happen. The kill count on that Mangonel.
Yeah. Goes down. I think Vortix just wants to kill it at this point. Like, kill it then resign. Yeah, kill it then resign.
Perfect call.
Oh, God. Crazy stuff, man. GG. I mean, honestly, well played to Viper. And well played to Vortix. I didn't even think he played bad. Like, it was a good game, but just came down to that macro, I feel like.
Yeah. Maybe the 3rd or 4th wave of Rams was a bit of an overcommitment. Because, like you said, farms were late. Isn't a Ram 10 farms?
I think...
With English?
So,
they cost
English,
50%, right?
English farms are like 37.
Ah, 37.
And Ram is 300, so it's like 8 or 9 farms per Ram. Yep. So yeah, it's that crazy, right? So maybe you're thinking like instead of the last 2 rams, you're thinking like 16 farms at home. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, and then we could have gotten like 3-4 crossbows out against the men-at-arms, maybe get to 2 Springles, and all of a sudden, maybe the English economy can carry then, and then horsemen or horse archers not looking too sexy against longbowmen.
Yep. And I also think that like English late game is very strong. Like they get the gold tickle from each farm as well. Their farms get a lot of food. So over time, especially with that tier 3 landmark that's either a white tower or a king's palace, a TC or a castle or a keep, they have a really good castle power spike. I really think that Vortix kind of tunnel vision on feudal age and needed to have a little bit more of a broader perspective on the later stages of the game, where English do absolutely fine versus Rus.
But something I will absolutely write down, love that, will include that in the future, was that scout positioning, giving him vision over the woodline.
Yeah. That has to be like the big takeaway for English pressure. That's something that's I think we're gonna start seeing more of that if that's to get popular. That's just so good. That's so good. Yeah, sick.
Whew.
Okay.
Now it should be the home map of Vortix, Boulder Bay. You probably saw the Viper against Lutifron on Boulder Bay today. That felt very uninspired to me.
I'm glad you mentioned it. I don't know what Lutifron was thinking there with English. Like, forget about the gameplay. Like, why pick English on that map? It made no sense to me.
I think it was I'm hoping that he doesn't know that I can over-chop around trees and punish him on land.
Yeah. But even that felt like he got what he wanted, and the defense was pretty straightforward. But anyway, here we got game 2 between Viper and Vortix on Boulder Bay. French for the Viper, the Rus for Vortix. How do you feel about Rus on this map? Because it's been very popular on the rank ladder as well.
Yeah, I think Rus is number 1 in my opinion. Like, especially after the Hulk lost their pierce armor or got heavily reduced from 6 to 2, I believe. Those arrows do so much more damage. I think Rus is number 1 on Boulder Bay.
Yeah, I feel like I have to agree with that. I haven't explored it too much myself, to be honest, so I'm just gonna watch and learn here from what Vortix has in store for us. But I do know that the Rus are quite dangerous, and I think that the French have a decent matchup into them. Like, it's not like they get completely rolled, because even if Rus is able to win the water, the French still have a really good economy on the land with their faster working villagers. So I think we might see a bit more of a drawn out game here, just judging from the Viper's past Boulder Bay games.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I know, like, once Viper stopped by at my stream and said French basically needs to get to 3 Hulks, and then they one-shot every other boat. So Viper might play this one really defensively with French.
Makes a lot of sense, but it's going to be very hard for him to get started here, because look at his deep sea fish, or lack thereof.
Oh, they're that fast? I'm still in the pre-talk. I didn't even launch into the game, but yeah. We can go into it.
Yeah, let's go into it. Yeah, I mean, like, this is something that's worth mentioning, right? Because it's such a big map disadvantage to not have your deep sea fish. Whereas Vortix has one right there next to his dock, so like that feels like super unfair to me, if you ask me.
Yeah. And didn't we have that? I'm not sure how much you're following the Winner Stays On, the Tuesday series from EGC. Oh yeah, you do, because you're playing next Tuesday.
Yeah.
True. I think we had exactly the same map there as well. Like, so many deep fish at the bottom, and really unfortunate start there for the Viper.
Yeah, definitely something that the developers have to take a look in here, because like Viper's going out now, and he's expecting to see a deep sea fish, because it is a water map, right? And he's done nothing wrong so far, and he's not finding it. So getting punished, 100% pure map generation there, and this is such a big deal. He's idling a fishing ship now. He doesn't want to take short fish because it's just so slow. So he needs deep sea fish, and he's not finding it.
Well, really unfortunate. The question is, like, did you ever do the math? What's the distance you have to go for deep fish compared to shore fish?
It's you click the dock and you see like that yellow ring. I heard it's 3 times that yellow ring. The deep sea fish is more worth it.
Okay.
But I just heard that. I didn't do the math myself. What about you? Maybe you have some more insight there?
No. I'm trying to feed from you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Well, that's something that I heard. I'm not sure how credible it is, but... Oh, wait, something we didn't mention. Viper has 2 scouts out. Wow, that's interesting.
Added the scout relatively late, so that's an untypical approach. But wait, oh no, actually it didn't. But yeah, against Roos, it kind of makes sense, right? Wanted to kill his two deer spots early on.
Yeah, no, 100%. And now Vortix, as a Roos player here, he's just going to react with one scout from his CC. Remember, he doesn't have a hunting cabin because it's a water map, so he has to make the scout from the town center. And I think he's just doing that to stay safe. He doesn't want to lose the dock to some random cheese here. So, I mean, that makes sense to me, if you ask me.
Well, interesting stuff here for sure. Lots of sheep for the Viper to get home as well. Obviously, with the mass fish, not the most important thing. But I still feel like the very early pressure should be coming from the Roos player.
I think the big thing about Roos is just how their early feudal power spike is. And I'm really curious to see how that plays out versus the French. But as you said, if Viper's planning to play a defensive style, can a tower near Viper's dock work, or is that just not a thing if you don't have the arrow slits technology? Or
I think that's too costly. Like
Okay.
the time you're losing so many opportunity costs as well with the villager building it, plus the opponent can just sit around somewhere else.
Yeah.
You can heal with ships. I think the damage output simply is not there. It's completely different to what is it called? Mountain Hill? No.
Mongolian Heights?
Mongolian Heights. Yeah. Oh god,
Yeah.
it was wrong. Mongolian Heights, because the ships can't get away.
Yep. But here they can run wherever they want, and it's like nothing you can actually damage them over time pretty much. Second dock from the Viper going down. I like that he sends 2 villagers, by the way, so that if one of them gets attacked from the scout, he still gets the dock up. That's smart.
Legendary game. The Viper against Mr. in the finals on Boulder Bay.
Yep.
Mr. could not access the neutral market at the left-hand side. This time, Vortix potentially being blocked off that one as well.
Yeah, I do think there's a 1-tile gap, but even for 1 tile, that's not very good for the trader. So if Vortix loses the water, it's going to be very tough for him to kind of secure that land. That being said, though, if he gets that kind of forward position, he can actually wall off the Viper from that area, because there is a nice little cliff that with a couple keeps, he can secure the entire top side, but of course, won't be able to trade very easily.
And this is tricky, right? So many people like asking, is this bugged? Is this not bugged? What we sometimes did in the past is an admin actually looking at the maps beforehand and then coming up with like, okay, those are the maps that we are going to play, and gives them actual seats that are going to be used. This is not what we did for this tournament, though.
Yep. And that's a really good discussion to have. As Viper loses one of his scouts near the dock, we'll lose all those sheep as well. Not the biggest of deals on water maps, since most of the food income is from the fish, but something to consider. And interesting from Vortix actually to put pressure with 1 Lodi attack ship. Just 1. Not transforming everything right away, which is very, very smart in my opinion.
Viper, somehow with an underreaction here against the gold. He just pulls the villagers away instead of like trying to fight back. Didn't he have like 7 villagers on gold? Felt so weird.
And he loses 1 now as well. Wow. Vortix taking a massive lead, both on water and land here.
This is so weird to me.
Yeah.
As if Viper's macro was completely off there. Lost the scout, lost villagers. Hulk production still not started?
It's like he used all the macro juice in game 1 with that fantastic defense, but now kind of slipping up there, yeah. And I can't help but feel like maybe he's just a little frustrated from how that start went with the fish as well. His fishes are still idle, by the way. Wow, this is really, really bad for Viper right now.
And only now he queues up a Hulk? I'm... This feels really odd.
Yep. A lot of mistakes. And, I want to give a bit of credit as well from Vortix to put so much pressure that maybe he's the one forcing out the mistakes from Viper. Like, there's a lot of things to think about here. Viper needs to find a food source. He needs to defend the scouts. I don't know. It's pretty interesting so far.
Viper now moves on to a mill.
Yep.
Untypical for a water game. And now 7 attack ships are coming over. Viper can't do anything here. The 2 Hulks not even synchronized. One spawns a bit earlier.
Oh. Yeah, that's such a big point, and you cannot garrison the ships in the dock in this game, guys. So those Hulks are basically forced to fight, and Vortix is just isolating one of them, trying to focus that one down, and it's just going down way too fast here. Wow, that's huge.
Well, let's see. The second one is trying to dance as well, but as we said, 3 is the magical number. Viper not really getting the kills in, and the second one... Oh, looking tricky.
Yeah, at least now he buys himself some time to fish a little bit, but it is shorefish, so it's so slow. And these hulks are expensive to replace, guys, especially with the gold harass. He can only replace one at a time now. No way he can afford 2 dock production for the next 5-10 minutes here. It's just too hard.
Feels so weird. Second Hulk is coming in though. Maybe now some healing at the dock. Goes for some more attack ships at home. Now the big walls here by Vortix. Maybe a bit scared of the knights coming in, but Viper, he's only thinking about water for now.
Yeah, and Viper up with the Chamber of Commerce, of course, as well. Something I want to talk about, by the way. Vortix should 100% make the 2 docks next to each other, so he gets double healing. Right now, he's only healing off 1 dock, and you don't need the dock to be separate, because the Lodia fish do not drop off at the dock. So 100%, if you're playing Roost, 2 docks right next to each other is the play, 100%.
Love that. Absolutely love that, Hera. And that's something I really love about Age of Empires 4 as well. Like how many different tweaks and approaches you have with different civilizations in this game.
Yeah, and it's like the little things that you might not consider mattering are the only things that seem to be mattering at this such a high level, right, between these two players. Vortix, he just gonna dive Viper. Viper can't do anything here. It's just completely over on water.
The one's still not there, loses all the fish, and Viper knows how tough it is. Against Lucifron, he made a comeback in Genesis there, but that's because he had the boom running as well, and gives this one up really early, 1-1. That felt like a really untypical Viper game.
Yeah, I really do think, like, I wish I would want to talk to him at some point later on. I do feel like he got a little frustrated from not having the fish. Like that feels just so unfair. It might have thrown him off his entire build order, his entire like thought process for the game. And then just in general going up against such a strong civ like Roos, felt like it just fell apart very quickly there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Probably some hardcore Viper fanboys now coming up with some theories because it felt like he was really distracted and a lot of stuff was not going right for him for like a full 2 minutes. Like minute 5 till minute 7, the micro and the gold was off, fishing ships were idle, production wasn't really there. I don't want to fuel into it, so I'm not going into it too much more, but this game felt very untypical. Hopefully Viper can shake it off and perform better in game number 3 for the Viper fanboys.
Yeah, if there's something I know about Viper though, is that he doesn't often get into his own head when he loses a game in a series. He really stays calm and collected for the most part. So I expect to see a much cleaner performance in game 3. It is his home map here, so for some preparation, at least a map he's comfortable on, it should be a solid game 3 for him and a much more smooth performance here. But I do want to talk one more time about the map seeds. So based on like seeing this game, Nilly, do you think that map seeds should just be the way to go from now on? Like after seeing a map like that?
Yes, but it's so much work. I know that Lord Petito for Genesis looked over 800 maps to do that only for the final weekend, right? Because you have to have every map potentially for every set. And then there could be a drop, for example. So you have to have like, what do we have, like 7 sets? So let's say you have to have every map 9 times that you think is viable. So that's like, let's say map pool of 10, that's 90 maps that you in the end decided for that are not bugged.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't rule out if that's like 20 hours of work of an admin.
Yeah, that feels like you have to talk about then, is it worth all that work? Does the value bring in, is that enough? Who knows? I'm not sure. But obviously, to get a map like that for Viper, very unfortunate and it sucks. And I would say, normally I'm the guy who blames the map the least. But I would say in that case, the map played a massive role. I'm not saying that Viper would have won should he have had a regular map. But I'm just saying the game would look completely different. Do you agree, Nelly, in that statement?
I think if he just built the Hulk earlier, I think there was so much thrown off by the Viper as well that I think I'm not even sure. No.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe if it was like, oh, I don't have deep fish, and then everything snowballed on a mental scale, then yes. But I think if he just goes for shorefish, has a competitive 30-second earlier fuel edge timing, he can still make something happen with the Hulk.
Okay. So you're saying like the early game did not completely decide, except if it was a mental thing. Fair enough. That makes sense to me. We're seeing English versus Chinese for this last game. I'm not sure if you know the map for this one.
It is Altai, the home map of the Viper, and Chinese considered, at least in my books, to be number 1 there.
I like English the best, actually. but I could see it going both ways. But I think after the Spring Guard nerf, I think English is clearly the best for me. At least in this matchup. I think Mongols can be pretty good into English, but in this matchup, I prefer English by far.
Okay, okay. I simply have seen lots of walls on this map, and once we hit Imperial Age, Chinese seem to be the strongest civilization right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I lost the Chinese yesterday. Yesterday, and I know how strong their siege can be. Starting in cast stage as well with that clock tower. And I also feel like Chinese are very flexible in the early game. I'm not sure how many different approaches you've seen, but we've seen 2TC Song Boom. I've seen Horseman opening. I've seen Archers. So I'm interested to see what the opening is here for Vortix. Professional Scouts is something we've seen as well a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Simply because it's so easy to wall the sides, and then you can maybe funnel your opponent through one entrance. The Barbican of the Sun might be a good opening, and then Professional Scouts get everything together and let your Imperial officials do the magic.
Yeah, do the work. Oh, I'm not sure about the math for the Imperial officers, by the way. Like, how much of a bonus is having 4 of those running in the mid game? Something to talk about, maybe.
I've not played Chinese a lot yet. The first Chinese games I did were actually in preparation of for this tournament, so I played them like 5 times before.
Okay.
So I don't really know a lot about them yet. I just know that the top players are focusing a lot on them, and you often see like early castle age having 4 of them.
Yeah, I've talked to Marine Lord as well. I think Marine Lord and B are the 2 Chinese players that I talk to a lot or have watched them play. And B, what he likes to do is do a quick 2TC boom, then go up to Castle Age. We're using the Song Boom. And Marine Lord says that Fast Castle is a solid strategy for them most of the time as well. So I think those are the 2 approaches that we'll see. I think Viper made a second scout here. So with English second scout to pick up some sheep, Vortix, I don't think he made it. He made an officer instead. So the first big difference here between the 2 players.
Interesting. And on this map with no ruse, I think he could have gone for 1 scout because there's simply so much less to scout. But I think if I'm correct, there's never sheep at the edges, right? Oh no, I'm wrong.
No.
Then I never. How did I never find sheep at the edges then?
How it works is that sometimes there's sheep on the inside, or if they're not on the inside, they're definitely on the outside, basically. So if you make a second scout, you can scout both. So like Viper was gonna have like 1 scout on the outside and then 1 scout on the inside if he's playing correctly here, pretty much.
Okay, update from the other series. The Muslim winning game number 1 against Magic. Obviously second semifinal running there. And after that, best of 7 finals.
I have to say, I'm very happy for the Muslim. I think he came into this tournament. He was, first of all, unseeded because he didn't participate in Genesis. But I think he came in a pretty big underdog compared to some of the names that he's taken out. And I'm honestly mad respect for going this far and also winning in the semifinals here so far.
Yeah, well, a lot of people already had him high on their list. I think he was number 8 in the ladder going into this tournament. But I thought he was more of a one-trick pony, and I didn't see like diverse map pool, diverse civs, him performing so well, but he clearly did.
Yep. And it's gonna be it's good to build him up as a player here. Vortix with how many sheep is that? Like 10 sheep? 10 sheep behind a scout. Wow, that's a pretty big deal, I think, especially if he's gonna be taking them near the mill. It's obviously gonna get boosted by the Imperial official.
And that's 1 scout versus 2 scouts. So really unfortunate for the Viper again.
Yeah. Unfortunate or bad scouting. I'm not even sure where his scouts are, to be honest. They're kind of... I mean, I'm not sure. I have to watch the game back, but it felt like he could have taken some better paths potentially there. Usually, from my experience, if you do 2 scouts on this map, you just have like... You scout the map so fast, and you're most of the time finding most of the sheep. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Viper putting the council hall with 5 villagers. So wants to get those longbowmen out quite quickly. Could be some aggression. And we said this is the map where you can wall easily. But honestly, Vortix map, rather open here.
Wow, and it feels like it's Viper, the guy who can wall easily. Just if he gets a little bit of control in the feudal age, he can easily just wall that little middle choke point, and then the sides are always an easy wall in Altai. Feels like Viper's map is much better this game. And then with the English pressure, I think... I mean, I said it before, I said it again. I think English just completely destroy Chinese in most games, to be fair.
Okay, so Barbican of the Sun in front of the mill here. Not the biggest surprise. Not the big question. Will we rush the stable afterwards? And how will he defend the wood line? Right-hand side walls? Okay, those make lots of sense to me.
Yep. Walling the right-hand side. Yeah. And there's also still 2 more sheep on the right-hand side. Again, how did Viper not find any of these sheep with like the double scout opening? Wow. Anyway, yeah, right-hand side walls, barbecue on the left. And as far as units, what do you expect? I think a stable makes the most sense for Chinese here. Professional scouts / horsemen makes sense.
Yeah, to deal with the early aggression. Now sends villagers onto gold even. That's a bit surprising to me afterwards. Still has lots of wood in the bank. So, yeah, stable. The kind of obvious choice. Will it be enough though? And what will Viper do to counter that? Is it maybe another ram push of the English?
I actually, like, I feel like English pressuring with Lombos but not committing to Ram is what I like for Chinese. Because I feel like if you commit to Ram, you might find a similar perspective, or not perspective, similar situation to game 1, where you commit hard and then the other guy just gets the castle age. So I think just Longbowman and just harass all the economy and then go up the castle age makes the most sense for English.
I think Mister in his interview after Genesis said that Longbowmen are often overbuilt.
Yeah.
And that in feudal age, going for 6-8 often achieves the same like going for 12-15.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, if I think of that statement to some of the recent games I've seen and played, that makes a lot of sense. And I do think that building 6-8 forces a reaction, and then if you feel like you need to, you can easily build more afterwards. But most of the time, you can just back up and go castle. And I think people underestimate English's castle age. Like, I love English castle age. I feel like it's so strong.
You as a crossbow nerd from Age of Empires 2, I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't see them as too exciting, honestly.
Really? You don't value the second TC, like in castle age?
I'll take some time until it pays off. I think they're just super solid, right? And
Yeah.
just that we never had any balanced discussion in either direction about English.
Yeah.
Just makes me so happy because they are the generic Civ, and them being completely in the center of balance feels right.
I was just gonna point that out as well. Like, they're not overpowered and they're not bad. They're like somewhere right in the middle, and I think you phrased it perfectly. They're center of the balance. I think these big walls help a lot for Vortix just to kind of secure the game. He's also massing some archers, which I find pretty interesting. I'm not sure if I would prefer a horseman here, because he doesn't need those archers. So like, why mass up a unit that's not going to be good later?
Maybe he's scared of a push that's not coming. Now going to Imperial Academy, so second dynasty on the way.
Yep. And for those who don't know, that makes his TC's work 2.7 times faster, I think, or something like that. An extra... No, hold on.
It
makes them
produces villages 35% faster. Or no,
Yeah, exactly, sorry.
50% faster. I think minus 35% of the time.
No, yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Because it makes them produce in 13 seconds, exactly, yeah. So what I was going at is 2 TCs for Chinese, I believe, is like 3.2 TCs of a regular Civ. But one, I guess you have to do the math. But yeah, 13 seconds for each village after that goes down. Pretty solid eco boost, but not quite as good as the second town center.
I'm still calculating here. I'm searching for my abacus.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, the archers get a scout pick off here, so... I mean, that's something for them, I guess. Oh, wait, stone for Vortix. Wait, does he just go for a boom? Like, is he just not worried about Viper here at all? Pushing it?
Well, makes sense with Song Dynasty, right? Barbican of the Sun makes lots of sense, and you have such an easy defense if you get the clock tower out later on. So I think just getting 300 stone and then abandoning this front could make lots of sense.
Yep, and I'm really surprised he doesn't have an official there. Like, most Chinese players, every time they go for stone, they have an official. I think that's a mistake from Vortix not to put one there, in fact. I hate to read too much into it. I'm not a Chinese expert myself, but from what I've seen, most of the time you do need an official to get that stone in faster. Pushing across the map with the archers now, can Viper not fight this though?
8v8 now, yeah. He was lacking behind with 2 though, and now he's taking the fight once he got the reinforcement. Scout now joining the party, and yeah, Viper can't be too unhappy with this.
But Viper did lose a Vil, so it wasn't a bad trade, but he did lose a Vil. Snipes the scout on the back end of things though. I would say that's pretty even for both players, but Viper probably has to send another Vil forward. Slight inconvenience there, buys Vortix some time on that push.
Okay, one weird thing about Twitch, right? Every time you talk about pandemic, everyone knows everything about any virus ever in existence. If you talk about politics, everyone knows about every rule ever implemented. But if you talk about math, you see how dumb Twitch chat really is, actually.
No one knows anything, eh? Yeah. It's a neglected subject, I suppose. And Nilly, as a former math teacher, doesn't make you too happy, eh?
Oh. And don't, like, if I start on German Monday talking about soccer, oh boy. We have all professional soccer players since they were kids.
Someone in my chat is saying it's the same for streamers. And I think with the math that I was doing this stream, I'm not going to speak for you, Nilly. I think I'd say he's probably right. Second TC is coming in shortly for Vortix. He did mine the stone. He's getting the wood for it now, excuse me. And yeah, Nilly called it soccer so everyone understands. He's obviously German. It's football for him. He's dumbing it down for the North American like me, guys. Come on now.
Yeah. I always use the term soccer and hand egg, so I can always offend both.
And I guess he was so mad for no reason as well. What do you think of the villages for the Chinese? I think it's a nice little neat thing that they can have. It helps keep them a bit more deep, like give them a little bit more defense for against raids, and also gives them a bit more value as well compared to houses. I like the villages.
Some nice gimmicky thing, not the most important thing. I think the village would never really be a deciding factor in any game ever, but I don't mind. It adds a bit more to the identity, right? So I approve.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, based on how Age of Empires 4, like how the dev team like to do things, they like to have each civ be as unique as possible. Viper, how close is he to the castle each here? Looks like he's on the way up. I'm struggling to find the building. White tower on the front. So he's not going for the second TC, which makes a lot of sense to me because you actually have to push against the 2 TC from Chinese. Booming against them does not make a lot of sense. So white tower forward makes perfect sense. I think he's going to make spring goals from that right away.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Another unique thing, right? Building out of castles or keeps. And the white tower works as one. Can go for a spring gold. Floating quite some gold here.
Yeah, so the question is, does he go for a mangonel first, or does he go straight for the spring gold? He goes for a mangonel first. Interesting. What do you think about that choice? I feel like just spring gold makes more sense here.
Well, mangonel is slightly better at harassing the tower. Maybe he thought, okay, I saw so many archers, so I have to go for them.
Yep.
It like the maximum he should do is 1 mangonel. After that, it should be exclusively springles. Maybe you could make an argument for a trap later if you get a good grab of the map. But 2 mangonels feels like a misplay.
100% agreed, yeah. The 1 mangonel to spring gold composition is very strong. Scout goes down a little bit sloppy there to the TC. Obviously, he shoots gunpowder as the Chinese. I wanted to say, though, trebuchets feel absolutely terrible in this game. Do you agree with that, or do you think that they're situationally decent?
Well, I think Age of Empires 2 players are mainly complaining compared to Age of Empires 4 or any other background player, like or StarCraft 2 background. People simply have to realize a trap is a castle age unit. And if you consider that and Bombard is the imp unit, and you accept that trap is only good in castle age, then I think building them makes way more sense and you value them more. Okay,
fair enough. I would still say, though, even like with that description, I just feel like it's too easy to defend against the trap. That's my only problem with them. The repairs are too cheap and spring gold defense is too free. So that's my only criticism for the trap. But nonetheless, great point that it's a castage unit. Magan on the front, castage now for Vortix. Spring gold defense, I suppose, from the clock tower. Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and that's what we said, right? Chinese so good on this map. Good economy, easy to defend. In my eyes, the best late game imp. Maybe Holy Roman Empire has something to say about that, but I see the longer the game goes, the better it is for Vortix.
At this point, his win condition isn't actually the counterattack. It's not the sneak. It's not the win fights. It's just to survive. He has right now 55 economic units. Viper's on 40. It's a 15 vil lead. He also has the 2TC stalling boom working. And he also has the better siege. So in theory, everything is going in Vortix's favor except the fact that Viper has map control. What he does with that map control, we're yet to see. Let's see if he can pull something out of the hat here.
He isn't even going for a monastery, so it's not like, okay, the Viper, he's getting 5 relics behind this, get some sacred sites. No, he's trying to make a push happen, but Springle already around, and Springle fight, obviously always going into the favor of the person with the clock tower.
Yep. Yep. The only hope you have against the Clock Tower Springolds is to either outmass them, which is usually very hard to do, or you have to have some sort of like front line to just dive them. And both of those things are very hard to do. Viper is backing off here, which, I mean, I guess he has to. Maybe he's rethinking and regrouping, but he does still have to do damage, so where is he going?
He tries to find something at the left-hand side, everything walled up. Not with Stonewall though, so I think eventually that amount of archers and a Mangonel could break through there. Mangonel lacking behind though.
Yeah. Yeah, he did get the repairs on that one though. I do like that decision. And it feels like he's just desperate to get in here and find some damage, but also not really rushing it too much. So he wants to get in at the right spots and with the right kind of army composition. Decided on this wall here with the Lombos, and Vortix will have to respond here and bring the Springolds into position as soon as possible.
Shouldn't be a big problem though.
Yeah.
And 3 Springolds from distance, already chopping away from this one. Viper's long-term plan. Where is it? What is it?
I feel like he just fall too far behind. I think his long-term plan should be to just get a big advantage and then somehow secure the map with stone walls with the map control he has. That's the only thing I can think of, but of course against bombards the stone walls don't even hold up, so I really do feel like Viper's on a massive timer here. I give him like 5 minutes to find some significant damage, or Vortix just wins this game by default with the economy and a better Chinese late game.
How do you like your English pick now?
I have to say, like, the way it played out, obviously Chinese was favorite, but I feel like maybe Viper could have done a little bit better, starting from Dark Age, getting more sheep, for example, and then maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe just more commitment and feudal. Easy to say in hindsight, hard to say in the moment. But yeah, Chinese looking better, Nilly. I don't know what to say, man.
You were right, nearly, is what you could say.
Yes, Nilly was correct. You were right, man. Chinese, pretty crazy.
77 villagers against 48. Viper on the timer, as you said. And Vortix, he's just chilling. More walls. I wouldn't mind even seeing some more villagers on stone to build some towers.
I really think at this point, as Viper gets the first bit of damage all game, it feels like he's going to get a couple of vills on the berries here. I really feel like Vortix's walls are doing exactly what they need to be doing, which is just buying time. And the game isn't over. Like, if Viper finds damage now, his army is still, like, very strong. But I think Vortix, how solid he's been playing so far, is just simply not going to let that happen. As Vortix in this position, are you making any units, or are you sticking with the siege? It looks like he's making palace guards. Do you like that choice?
It's mainly to deal with a ram push, potentially, that could be coming in. I think Vortix is now thinking, okay, what are the ways that I can lose this game? And this is maybe a surprise, like 4 ram go into your main base, and then archers and Springolds wouldn't be the craziest thing. So Palace Guard to deal with that is probably his choice.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I do think that the Palace Guard is pretty good in general against the Lombos as well, because they move faster than men-at-arms, so they don't get kited as easily. And it's, oh, Greased Axes coming in, fast moving Springolds. Something that Chinese players often get and English players do not get, because Viper doesn't have a Siege Workshop. So Viper can never get that. That's a big upgrade.
I still don't like that the Viper never squeezed out some monks behind this. Like, with all this investment, yeah, but it's just, it feels so late. He could have had 5 relics. He could have had 2-3 sacred sites. And then Vortix is actually not under that much pressure, but might get into a mental game where he feels he has to do something.
Yeah, that's fun as well. Like, right now we see the whole map, so we see like there's like no threat for Vortix, even if the sacred sites were ticking. But yeah, he might not know that from the player perspective. I definitely agree. And if you think like one Mangonel that Viper made did nothing, whereas the monastery would cost the same and do so much, and it would be guaranteed. Viper's now adding a town center. Oh, I hate that. I feel like, I mean, maybe he doesn't have a choice, but like late game English just doesn't work for Chinese. No way.
90 versus 54 villagers, so far behind here. Imp timing, absolutely not an option. 7 villagers on food right now. Ooh.
Not looking good, man.
What's the game plan?
I don't have one, man. My game plan started in Feudal Age and ended in Feudal Age. Castle.
Maybe Vipers as well.
Yeah, after that, you don't have a lot of options. I will say, though, Viper did a good job on the right-hand side to pit a Lombo to actually stop the expansion from Vortix. And Vortix might lose a fair few villagers to that if he's not careful. He hasn't noticed just yet. He's trying to wall that right-hand side. The beginning of the comeback, the redemption arc, maybe?
Not a single other unit is moving there. Viper finally picking up some relics. But we already have the walls up eventually, so now it's only 4 relics anymore, unless the longbow denies everything.
Oh, a few SMBs coming out now from Vortix. That's interesting. I'm not sure how you find the SMBs. I feel like they're pretty strong, but when people already have a Springald mass, I feel like it's probably not even worth making them.
Yeah, I think, honestly, Vortix right now is simply building army to stop a push.
Okay, okay. Yep, I mean, that makes sense to me, because we know that Viper's not pushing, but Vortix doesn't know. So that makes sense. And he's only... I like that he's not committing too much. Just a few units, like you said. Just to prevent, like, that weird ram push from coming in, for example. Like, that random trap push.
And then 2-3 nests of bees are so nice. Now a battering ram by Vortix. That's a bit of a surprising one. Maybe he wants to deal with that forward tower.
Okay, hear me out. What if, throughout all this time, Viper gives up the idea of winning a late game, and he goes for, like let's say 4 or 5 trebs or 4 or 5 rams, and then pulls all the villagers and tries to kill all the landmarks from Vortix one shot with one big push. They're all in the same spot. What do you think of that kind of idea?
It's 4 relatively close together. But you can always rush out another one as Chinese at a weird spot in the back.
That is true. That is true, yeah. But I genuinely feel like something all in like that was the only chance for Viper, even though I think that has like a 1% chance of actually succeeding.
That's optimistic.
Yeah, exactly. Even 1% is a bit high. Oh, Monk passing by that relic, going for the Sacred State instead. Second Monk will pick up that relic. We'll see what Viper can do. It's going to be Vortix pushing back here in a second here. More barracks and archery rangers coming down for the Viper. I'm not sure what unit composition he's making. He's actually committing to Spearman, by the way. He made Veteran Spearman without scouting. That's so unlike Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's up against Palace Guards.
And now a barracks, another archery range. Viper feels so clueless in this game. Now an outpost in the center. Got some upgrades there, but that's it. 110 villagers, so close to fully boomed against 70 villagers by the Viper.
Oh, and I want to talk about it. I think the Veteran Spearman was to defend Fire Lancers, which are actually an insane unit. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're actually correct. Like, they're freaking insane. So I actually don't blame him for that, but in this case, it's just kind of like not going to do anything.
Yeah, I learned about them yesterday. We had a Chinese mirror on Hill and Dale, and the Viper actually went full Fire Lancer for the first like 10 minutes in Imperial Age. Yeah,
and I can predict that your army, whatever it is, just got completely like obliterated from the charge, yeah?
Well, actually, like mass spearmen bombards did quite well, but once grenadiers were mixed in, those grenadiers dealt with the spearmen again.
He did the same thing against Bloodier on that map. Bloodier went for Spearman Bombards and Viper went for Grenadier Fire Lancer. And
that's
it just
exactly
felt like
the game.
Yeah, exactly. And it just felt like, the Fire Lancers are just really strong.
Okay, so Viper with the 6 Springles here has the White Tower. Okay, pop 150 for the Viper. Vortix looks close to pop 200 already.
Yeah, 190. He's got the Palace Guards in the front. He's got very good upgrades on those as well. Maxed out the Pierce Armor, has a couple attack upgrades and melee defense upgrades. The Nested Bees are there, but the Springald's going to be the main focus here. 4 Rams running up to the White Tower here. Springald's backing up from the Viper. Big fight, though.
Oh, and Springles, they don't care of Vortix. They are just moving in and killing the Springles of the Viper. He only had 3. Now some Spearmen are coming to the front. Palace Guard are taking over. It feels like the White Tower is falling without too much of a contest, actually.
Forward, he recognizes that this is his last chance to defend this push. It's here or he dies. The Rams getting kind of stuck, but trying to push their way forward. Palace are on the front, doing the damage to the Spearmen, not having too much effect there. Oh, the Nested Bees on the backline as well. That's crazy.
Oh, and killing all the longbows there. And the second volley maybe deals with quite a bit of them. Now Palace Guard are getting closer, and it feels like Viper might just die to one single push here. We boom for 20 minutes to die in one attack?
That's how it goes with Chinese, and it's not Fire Lancers this time, it's Palace Guards, and they dealt with the longbows very easily. The siege pushes forward, the White Tower goes down. I feel like the GG is imminent here. Crossbows being mixed in as sort of a last-minute desperate attempt here, but the siege is still standing strong from Vortix.
Pop 100 against 175. Nest of Bees on that hill there, just shooting down. Palace Guard still holding the ground at the front. Oh, okay, a bit overambitious with the sprinkles here, but doesn't really matter. They're just in the front. And Vortix is going into the finals.
GG, well played to Vortix. I mean, listen, he avenged, I should say, his brother. Lucifron fell to Viper in the quarterfinals. Vortix picking up the slack here in the semis, taking out Viper 2-1 in a fantastic series. Absolutely, you are right. Chinese should definitely beat English after I just watched that game. It's just too hard to push as English.
Oh man, and maybe an overcommitment there with like the way too many longbows. Maybe just build 2 longbows and play out of that. Could have been an option for the Viper because it felt lots of army without doing anything. If we look at the unit count, I think it should be constantly more military for the Viper without ever achieving anything.
Yeah. And I just have to say, like, it's either he overcommitted and didn't do anything, or he undercommitted and he really should have went all in Feudal Age with like Rams or something like that. Like it's one or the other basically. But it felt like he did something in the middle. You know what I mean? Like he kind of made army but didn't actually find damage with them. So yeah. Viper overrated. Yeah, because going to the semifinals and losing a close best of 3 against literally the finalists is very overrated. 100%.
Yeah.
Taking out the rank 1 Lucifron. Yeah, definitely, man. Good stuff, bro.